I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will think that I'm doing this video for attention. And I cannot blame them because a lot of people will say that they hate something just to get more attention. But the more I hear news about GTA 6, the more I think it will really suck. I'm not saying that it will be a big failure, I'm just saying that it will be the worst GTA game ever. But let's see why I think that. One employee describes the changes as a boys club transformed into a real company. Let me guess, that employee has their pronouns in their bio and stays all day on Twitter? Even if you like it or not, GTA is what it is because of that boys club. And I have no idea what a boys club means. Is it because they don't want girls in the club? There's a lot of companies that only allow girls to work there. And you can also see a lot of studies where women are preferred over men when they apply for a job. So you now transform your company, Rockstar, into a real company, not a boys club. So what you mean is that now you're not free anymore. You are a corporation. Now the HR lady decides what you do and you don't do. You probably will get a lot of diversity hires because of the ESG score, and you will probably not allow anything fun in the game. So Bloomberg made a report by interviewing 20 former employees and current employees. And they found out that Rockstar's so-called frat boy culture was built around drinking, brawling, and excursions to strip clubs. Okay, so how will they know how to build a strip club if they don't go to a real strip club? Isn't that some extra work effort? And was this during the work hours? If not, what's the problem? Why do you care what people do outside work? Next, they say that crunch was another problem which led to burnout and staff attrition. In 2018, prior to the Red Dead Redemption 2 launch, hundreds of employees opened up about the issue for the first time. Awesome! All companies should do this. Crunch should not be allowed unless people are willing to do it and it doesn't influence their growth in the company, and also if it's paid really well, at least double, and also free food, and you should have a lot of options for the food. So yeah, I don't agree with crunch, it destroys your life. You will have no time for yourself, for your family, for your friends. You will basically become a robot. And you will also feel tired and sick. Trust me, crunch is okay at first, but after some time, let's just say that it drains your soul. So working overtime should be optional. Always, no matter what. Because I'm pretty sure some companies are like, oh, you don't have to come to fix the issue really fast, but do you know when you did that mistake a few months ago? I'm pretty sure nobody has to know about it if you fix the problem. I don't know, something like that. What I mean is that they can give you a bad review or whatever it's called if you don't agree to come to crunch. The Bloomberg report says, to fight crunch, the company changed scheduling and allowed employees to immediately take time off for every extra hour of work. Wow, the wording sounds so shitty. Saying that they allowed employees. It's like saying that your mother allowed you to go outside, but you're 40 years old and you're married and have kids and you have your own money and your own house. Do you see the issue with a company allowing their employees to have their free time? If I finished my working hours, a company should not be allowed to tell me what I can do or cannot do. It's my free time. I don't need a company to allow me to do something. The company also made changes to its management structures, getting rid of several leaders who were accused of abusive or toxic behavior. Awesome! One toxic person can ruin a whole company. But do you know what's the problem with toxic when I hear it from a corporation? It's usually not a toxic person, it's just somebody who doesn't agree with the corporation. Because the real toxic people are in charge. Look at Activision Blizzard. The CEO, the most toxic person in Activision Blizzard, is still the owner, it's still in charge. But the other toxic people that most of them probably didn't do anything are now fired. Well, actually, most of them are not fired, they left the company. My point is that they don't fire the real toxic ones, if they are in charge. So apparently after departure of design director Imran Sarwan, Rockstar hired 3 other directors. These changes, however, led to a lot of confusion where design decisions will contradict each other. For real now, why do you need 3 directors? Apparently before that you only needed 1 and everything was okay. Of course, when people will have 3 bosses instead of 1, things will not go well. One will tell you that you have to do this job, the other will tell you another thing, and so on. And this was my issue even when I used to work at Ubisoft. They always preferred to hire more and more people instead of keeping the old and good ones. They never cared if a very experienced person left the company. So my point is that you only need 1 director. And you only need to make sure that he's good. And if he's real good, you must make sure that he stays at your company. But like I said, this is the issue with a lot of corporations. They want new people because they can pay them less, but most of them don't do their job. And the ones that do their job, after some time they get tired and fed up. So they leave to a new company because they were the only ones keeping the project together. And the bad ones, they will never leave the company. Because they know they suck and they know they don't deserve the salary. Because they don't do anything. Now let's see what information we have about GTA 6. According to the Bloomberg report, GTA 6 was codenamed Project Americas. Rockstar initially planned to make it bigger than any other GTA game, adding territories spanning North and South America. Yeah, I hate it when gaming companies try to make things bigger. Because when a map is huge, you lose a lot of details. So it's usually bigger, but it's a lot emptier. And apparently they made a good decision. The world map has since been cut to a fictional version of Miami and its surrounding areas. Of course they did, because it was very hard to make a huge map interesting. They will need a lot of time to do it, or they will have to copy paste or keep it empty. That would have been boring because I don't want to drive 1 hour in a video game just to see the same thing over and over, or nothing, or the same stupid collectibles over and over. Schreier says that GTA 6 will include a playable female character for the first time in the series history. A Latina woman will play one of 2 main roles in a Bonnie and Clyde inspired story. Sounds great, and I hope they will focus on the story, not on the fact that she's a woman. Because they usually try to say that, oh, this is the first female protagonist in GTA, buy the game. But nobody cares, and people buy the game to see how it is. But then they don't like it because they see there's no story. Their main focus is usually on the fact that she's a Latina, she's a woman, probably bisexual or something, but they forget to write a good story. Now let's see why I really think Rockstar will suck. Rockstar also reportedly changed its approach to in-game humor, trying to not joke about marginalized groups anymore. The idea of the GTA we love, it was because they had crazy characters. For example, Trevor Phillips. It was funny to see how fucked up he is. When GTA makes fun of marginalized groups, you don't laugh because you like to make fun of marginalized groups. You usually laugh about how fucked up things are. Okay, let me give you a better example. Weebs make fun of each other all the time. Friends usually make fun of each other all the time. Even families make fun of each other all the time. And most of the time people do it for comedic effect. There is nothing wrong with making fun about marginalized groups. It is nothing wrong with making fun of everything. When you make a joke, you should not care who you are offending. When you make a joke, you must make sure it's funny. If a lot of people will enjoy it and they will laugh, then it's a good joke. And it doesn't matter if a few people got offended. Your mother, for example, will not like the jokes that you do with your friends. And your friends will not like the jokes that you do with your mother. My point is that GTA was one of the most loved games in the world. And if the jokes was so problematic, then why did the game sell so well? Nobody will buy a game because they feel it's not offensive. Absolutely nobody buys a game because of that. So if GTA will change their jokes, the new jokes better be as good as the original ones. If not, then the gameplay and the world must be amazingly and mind blowing. The truth is that I don't think it will be. I think the single player part will have a lame story, a very boring one, or at least the most boring GTA story ever. Because they will probably want to focus more on online, because that's where they make their money. So I'm expecting the story to be very lazy and short. Or at most, not as good as the others. Anyway, the company also wants to continuously update the game with new content post-launch. The leadership thinks that it will prevent crunch during the final months of development. So why is it so hard to release the game when it's ready to be released? Oh yeah, I forgot. It's because of marketing. It's because they focus more on marketing. It's because they invest more in marketing. Whenever you see a game, for example like Cyberpunk or even Red Dead Redemption 2, it usually fails because they invest more in marketing than in development. The people who work very hard in development are not paid as much. At least not all of them. But the marketing gets a huge budget. You find ads everywhere, you find merchandise. They pay movie stars, they pay other companies to promote their rockstar characters in their drinks. Over 50% of the budget goes in marketing. So it's exactly like you opening a restaurant and you invest all your money in marketing. But you don't have the money to buy good ingredients for your restaurant. You don't have money for good cooks and employees, so most of them will leave and only the bad ones will remain. Then you start to wonder, why was Red Dead Redemption 2 a big failure? The online part. And I'm pretty sure all they will learn from this is that they need to invest even more money in promoting their games. And if 3 directors didn't do a great job, next time let's get 10 directors. However, some employees are not sure that a modern, upgraded Rockstar will not be able to beat the record set by GTA 5. Despite all the workplace improvements, the game's development is going slower than expected. What improvements? Apparently, Rockstar wants to be more focused on inclusivity and diversity. You know, the ESG score, not real inclusivity and diversity. Because real inclusivity and diversity would mean people with different opinions. But apparently, they only care about what jokes are not allowed. Workplace improvements doesn't matter if you only keep the bad employees, or if you don't let the good ones be creative. Maybe the biggest problem at Rockstar is with the HR lady. You know, the people that are in charge with HR, the ones that hire others. Maybe they don't do a great job and they hire the worst people. And they don't try to keep the good employees. And yeah, it's usually a HR lady, but it doesn't have to be a lady. It can also be a man. And here comes the real issue. Some employees are still trying to figure out how to make games under new conditions and wonder what a new GTA will look like in today's environment. First of all, they don't even know what the new GTA 6 will look like. And saying that in today's environment is also a bad sign. Nobody plays GTA to see today's environment. Most of the people who play GTA want to destroy stuff. They want to do as many illegal stuff as they can. I don't play GTA to respect others. I play GTA to destroy stuff and to see fucked up stuff, including jokes. Nobody wants to live in today's environment. So now you will make me wear a mask? You need to scan my QR code? I will be banned from the game because I used the wrong pronouns? I do not care about today's environment. I do not care that people on Twitter are offended. Most people on Twitter are bots. And the ones that are not bots are usually people with no life. They just have a lot of free time to stay on Twitter all day and argue. So you care more about bots and losers on Twitter instead of real fans? Good luck with that. I'm sure that somebody who stays all day on Twitter will have time to play your game. So here's my final opinion on GTA 6. It can have only female protagonists. It doesn't matter. What matters is if the story is good, if the story is fucked up. Because we need a crazy story, where you do a lot of fucked up stuff. The new jokes better be very good. But I don't think that will happen. Because good jokes are usually offensive. And nobody wants kids jokes in GTA. Not even kids. Believe it or not, I love GTA jokes even when I was a kid. If I wanted to see non-offensive jokes, I would just play a kids game or watch a cartoon. And now for the last part, and the only part that I think GTA 6 will be a success, is if the game looks really, really, really good. It has at least 60 FPS, and the gameplay is improved a lot. Maybe if this stuff is very, very, very good and improved, and without issues, GTA 6 can still be a huge success even if the jokes are not good, or if the characters are boring and bad. And of course it will be good because a lot of people will still want to play the online part. Because the story part will not sell if it's not good. And even if it sells, a lot of people will hate it. And they will not trust Rockstar in the future. So this is why I think GTA 6 will suck. They want to delete the jokes that made it funny, and they want to make it for today's environment. Nobody that says this phrase, made it for a modern audience, did a great job. Usually when you hear something like this, you know it will be a failure. Because they care more about not offending somebody. And guess what? That's impossible. Somebody will always find a reason to be offended. It's the same thing as jokes. A good jokes that everybody likes will not exist. So you don't need to make a joke for everybody. You just need to make a joke that most of the people will find it funny. And no, not Twitter, because Twitter is only bots and retards.